Hello and welcome to the bubble wrap palace that is my Cheddar Greenhouse's polytunnel. I love growing in here and we have fantastic fresh veg all the year round, even in Orkney. But today I don't want to talk to you about Orkney and Orkney whisky. We're going south, South. In fact, South to the other end of Speyside and beyond. Because today I want to talk to you about the Glendronach 15-year-old whisky, which is called the Revival. And this remarkable single malt was put together by Billy Walker, an absolute legend in the whisky world, when he helped to revive this great distillery. And it's all about sherry bomb. So it's at Huntley, or just outside Huntley, technically outside Speyside, just in the bottom there, in Aberdeenshire. When I went there, and this is sort of typical of how I get things wrong, I went to the Dean's shortbread biscuit factory, little knowing that Glendronach was just round the corner. I'd know more about it if I went back now. So, on the nose, this whisky is all about sherry, but there's a complexity about it that is intrinsic when you have a whisky that has been not only in one type of sherry cask but then in another. And so this delicious dram has been in both Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez or PX barrels, and so the two of them combined give such a depth of aroma. Is that something? A huge aroma and depth of flavour that it makes whiskies created in this way really stand out. So it's all about richness. It's about toasted marzipan, hints of orange for me, touch of marmalade. You know, we all react in different ways to this. But basically, it is lush on the nose. Lush. It really is. Inviting, beguiling, mouth-watering. So, that's the nose. Lovely colour. Well, it's very bright in here, which is, of course, why my vegetables grow so well. This is a tongue tingler. It really is. The first initial, very first split-second impression is slightly thin, and then this huge dance of flavour right round the tip of your tongue, which is, of course, something that you use a lot for tasting. And, oh, it just sparkles. It really sparkles. And then I get all the marzipan and rich caramel flavours coming through. Slight hints of chocolatey notes. But the enormity of the flavour is immense. And the Oloroso, although it's not a dry sherry by any stretch of the imagination, well, we get dry Oloroso, but it's a big, richer sherry. That is providing the high notes in this whisky. And then the PX at the bottom, it just means that the finish is it is a crescendo. It's absolutely enormous. Do you think I'm enjoying it? And on the second sip, you are acclimatized to it. It is acclimatized to you. It's just delicious. It's a whisky to sit and mull about and really sort of sort the day out and unpack your bags and just settle into. It's like an armchair. You want to snuggle into it and really, really enjoy it. I believe Patch has just come in. I don't know whether you can see the floor of the polytunnel, but the family is in here now. So Billy Walker was the instigator of this, and the master blender now is Rachel Barry. And it's some years since I've tasted this whisky. And the first time I tasted it was on the recommendation of Rob and Matthew at the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow. And I was in there chatting whisky at the start of coming out, if you like, and saying that I was a whiskey woman. Oh, and we just had the best hour or so of banter in there. And I said, my budget's £50. What can you buy me? What can I buy? Not what can you buy me? That would have been nice. What can I buy for that? And Matthew McFadden suggested this. And I think we headed down the Kintyre Peninsula, down to Campbelltown to explore down there, Springbank country. Yes, and I was just hooked when I opened this. So I've added a couple of drops of water. Now for me that brings out some slightly more tannic notes, and with a whisky that's as big as this, it's 46% ABV, I would rather drink it without the water. But for those of you who don't like a boom bang a bang, you know, pounce around wow sort of flavour, the water will make it easier and more accessible. But interestingly, I don't think it reveals anything more about the whisky. It certainly doesn't spoil it, but it makes it slightly more caramelized, and it slightly mutes the crescendo flavour at the end. So for me, this is a whisky that I would prefer to drink straight. Now, somebody wrote to me after I talked about the Parliament from Glendronach and asked if I had tasted the new revival and what did I think about it compared to the older one under Billy Walker's blending. Was it you, Salty? I'm not sure. Anyway, to tell you the honest to God truth, I can't remember a flavour profile, and I don't keep notes, which is an absolute sin, but look, I'm just a woman who likes drinking. But I think this is probably just as delicious as it's always been. It's certainly rich, it's certainly a treat, and it's only around the £60 mark. So I guess I was spending 50 on it about 5 or 6 years ago. So I don't think for a legend that went out of circulation, that has been revived, the revival is revived, I don't think that's bad value for money. And I was absolutely delighted to hear that it was coming back onto the shelves at that price. The aroma from the glass is just fantastic. Yes, I think this would be as cracking with a good cheddar as it would be, I don't know, even with a cigar. It's years since I smoked one of those, but it's just a glorious whisky. As I say, it's an armchair whisky, it's a ruminate whisky. And I'm just delighted to make its acquaintance again. So if you see it, grab yourself a bottle. And to our neighbours Colin and Kim, who were camping down at Huntley and bought this for me, cheers. They live just over there. And they've got a polytunnel too, but it's not quite like ours. See you next time.